All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Big 10 Talk. I am super excited this week to have a very special guest. MBG from the Message Board Geniuses podcast is here with me tonight. How are you doing tonight, MBG?
Oh man, I'm doing excellent, Emily. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
No, thank you so much for coming on with me. I don't know exactly where you're located, but I know it can be late for some folks. So I do really appreciate on a Monday, no less, the beginning of the week. But many people here know, and I'm pretty vocal about it, I am a huge fan of the MBG podcast. I genuinely think it's one of the best college football podcasts out in terms of creativity and content. You guys just do a wonderful job. So, I want to ask you some questions first about the pod before we totally talk about Big 10, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Don't ask about the ages of any of my co-hosts,
That's
though.
fine. We can
I know
guesstimate
they're all
those, but
old, and I think are a little embarrassed about their ages. So,
that's okay. Yeah, we can keep that on the DL. We don't need to talk about the ages of your co-hosts. But you guys do a wonderful job week after week creating content and getting together on the podcast, and you guys are so funny and creative. But what's your favorite thing about the podcast if you had to narrow it down to one thing, maybe two things max?
oh man, well, obviously, I love the post. I love going through the post because sometimes it's maybe unpredictable content that you wouldn't typically hear on
Yeah.
a college football podcast, but it's kind of through the eyes of certain fans, maybe the fringe of the fan bases. But so I love doing the posts, and then I love having guests on. I've always been a little bit surprised at people who have actually agreed to come on the podcast.
Yeah.
um, but so the guests are always fun, being able to have some of the guests react to message board posts is has been a fun.
You
Um,
guys have done such a phenomenal job with your guests. And I think you guys are in a really fortunate situation where you guys managed to get such awesome guests, but also when you don't have any guests at all and it's just you four, you do a wonderful job with just you guys as well. So that's a really awesome combination and a good situation to have. But I imagine the posts are probably your favorite, like you just said, but I imagine you see such a variety of posts from people sharing personal details on the message boards, asking for advice, to wanting to fire their national championship head coach after not maybe performing as well in week 1. So you probably see it all. Do you like what's your favorite, or maybe one that just comes to mind, even if it's not your favorite, but what is the one of the craziest posts you have ever seen?
Man, there's been a lot. One of my
Yeah.
favorite posts, maybe from this from this week, even
Yeah.
from a Florida poster. I don't know if you saw this. I'm going to try to pull it up so I can read it
Oh,
word
yeah.
for word.
I
But
don't think I
I
saw the
mean,
Florida post this week.
so there was a lot of, believe it or not, there was a lot of posts from Florida fans, but there was a Florida fan who said, "My wife got deported 2 months ago, and I am more upset with Billy Napier than I am with ICE."
I actually did see this. Yes, I did see this.
So that's kind of maybe some recency bias, but that's one of my, I think, one of maybe the best posts that I've seen, and it kind of encapsulates the hatred that Florida fans have for their coach right now, and almost every fan base in the SEC and the Big Ten maybe have felt at some point.
Right. Absolutely. And I know this isn't really Big 10 related, but what do you think the future of Florida football looks like? Do you think he gets fired this season?
I mean, looking at his schedule,
It's
uh,
tough.
I don't see any other ending for Billy Napier than getting fired this year. If he scrapes out 8 wins after that, you can't fire him because there'd be some good wins on the resume. But
There
man,
would
I
be.
don't know where they come from. They haven't looked good. They didn't look good against South Florida, obviously. And who knows? Maybe South Florida's really good. I mean, they beat Boise
Hey.
pretty handily. So, I mean, it could be that South Florida's really good, but it's hard to rebound from that if you're Billy Napier, given the schedule going forward. So I think we did a draft where we picked
That's
what coaches
right.
we thought would get fired this year, and I had Billy Napier on my list. So yeah, I think he's going to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good draft pick too. You drafted
Yeah,
that
it
very
was a
well.
safe pick.
It was a safe, yeah, the safe pick. You have super hot takes and then you have safe takes, which is that's fair. That's okay. That's good. You guys do an awesome job with your drafts, by the way. You guys, again, are always very funny with it. And you guys did, what was it? Oh, the
Well,
tailgating food. This most recent one was tailgating food, right?
three of us do good with the drafts, and then Casey.
Yeah. Casey just picked like a bunch of fast food, didn't he, for his tailgating food
Oh, for the
draft?
tailgate draft, yeah, it was like Chick-fil-A nuggets and something from Popeyes,
Right.
maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Right. I mean, but
Casey struggles with drafting, but
that's why we love him, right?
he's strong everywhere else.
Strong everywhere else. And I would say that people were probably really distracted by the fast food picks, but they were probably even more distracted by you admitting that you don't actually like tailgating.
Yeah, that obviously that's not a popular take, but yeah, I'm not a fan of tailgating for whatever
If
reason.
you're not a fan of people in crowds, I like totally get it. Which I
Yeah,
know
that has
seems like
something to do with it.
really, yeah, probably. It probably does have something to do with it. Um, but yeah, you guys do an awesome job. If you guys haven't checked out the MBG podcast, I highly recommend that you do because week by week, if not almost week by week, they have an amazing episode, usually with a phenomenal guest and really just exciting and humorous content. Um, and I may have missed this on one of your guys' episodes, but do you have a Big Ten prediction in terms of who might finish in the top 4, 5, and who ends up in the championship and wins it? The Big Ten championship, I should say.
We haven't done any picks, but I mean, in
Okay.
my mind though, the Big Ten seems like one of the easier conferences to predict in the sense
Yeah.
that there seem to be three teams that are the cream of the crop in Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon, right? And then
Right.
maybe you got some teams that maybe could surprise like Illinois or Nebraska, but it's probably two of those three teams. And that's really not going out on much of a limb to say that it's probably going to be Ohio, Penn State, and Oregon, some combination of two of those three teams. But I would probably say Ohio State and Oregon only because nobody trusts James Franklin.
Which actually is a good segue to my next question. My next question was, what are your thoughts on Penn State this season? Because they have been predicted to win the Big Ten by several people and possibly the national championship. So, do you have faith in the program and in James Franklin enough to kind of see that play out? Or are you a non believer in Penn State overall?
Uh, I think they have probably as much or more talent than anybody in the league. The weekly is probably James Franklin. I mean, I don't know what to make of them. I won't be surprised if they won a national championship because the talent's there. And I don't know what to think about Ohio State yet, really, or Oregon, just because of the quarterback position at both of those schools. They're not none of their quarterbacks are proven, I don't think. And Penn State, Aller seems to be a little bit more polished than the others. So, um, yeah, I mean, I trust Penn State.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see kind of how the season plays out, kind of like what you just mentioned in terms of these teams being challenged more and seeing what comes of that. Did you watch, and this might not be an incredibly fair measurement, but did you watch the Ohio State Texas game in week one? You
I
did, right?
did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did.
Were you impressed
And
with
that's
Julian saying?
not, I was, he, on a couple drives, and I don't know, it didn't look like they really opened things up for him. Same with Arch Manning on the other side. It didn't seem like either coach really opened anything up. That they were, it looked like they were playing for a 17-14 type of a game and letting their defenses kind of dictate the game. So no, I didn't think he looked overly impressive, but I didn't think he looked terrible. He wasn't getting a lot of help from his wide receivers at certain points, but so yeah, and then he played Grambling last week, so it's hard to know what to think of him yet.
Right. So, a combination of Ohio State, Penn State, and Oregon, which I agree with, I like. But have you gone so far as to make a college football prediction in terms of who ends up in the national championship and who might win it?
Well, after a couple weeks, I don't know. My one of my hot takes was that Texas A&M was going to make the college football playoffs. I wouldn't take them
Yes.
to win a national championship, but I would probably take someone from the Big Ten. One of those three teams from the Big Ten will probably play against. I mean, probably I maybe would have said Alabama a few weeks ago, but I'm not sure if I could say that anymore. But maybe
Right.
LSU. I don't know.
So a team from the
Maybe
Big Ten
LSU.
and a team from the SEC.
I know that's quite a limb to go out on, but I would say maybe LSU, Penn State. How about that?
I like that. I think that's a good one. I don't think I've heard that one either yet. I don't think anyone has told me that prediction yet. But that's a good one.
Yeah, I mean, some of those teams that we thought were going to be good at the beginning of the season, I don't know about. Like Texas, I'm not sure about. Clemson hasn't looked really good. Yeah, I don't know what to make of some of this. Georgia, I don't know if they're good. Tennessee and Auburn have looked good, but I don't know if that's sustainable. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I'm not sure if that's entirely sustainable either, but I like that pick. I'm going to remember that because that is unique and different from what I have heard. But
But I don't know if you saw, but Auburn looked really good those first 2 weeks.
I heard, I think I heard that about 20 times from you in your episode last week that Auburn looked really good in week 1.
They did.
So, yeah, I know. I noted. So you see, like I said, many crazy posts. And I want to know, what are your top 3 worst fan bases that you have seen or interacted with in the Big Ten? And I mean worse, like crazy.
Well, I mean, in the Big Ten, it has to be 1 and 2. Well, really 1 and 1A, Ohio State and Michigan. And I think it
Right.
was kind of made worse by the whole cheating scandal. I don't want to
Yes.
call it cheating scandal, the sign stealing scandal. Those two, those two. I mean, it's 1A, and then a huge space. And I mean, I don't even know who would be 3. I mean, Purdue fans are kind of funny. Penn State, maybe. Nebraska, probably Nebraska.
I
I
could
would
see that.
go, yeah, Nebraska, probably a very distant third.
Right. Which isn't too shabby, I would say, compared to maybe other fan bases that you interact with and see on a weekly basis. I mean, so this might be kind of more of like a lamer question that I initially anticipated, but do you have like the 3 best fan bases where they're usually pretty level-headed or calm or fun to even interact with?
um, Oregon fans are good. And I'm not just saying that, Emily, but I
That's
mean,
a yeah,
Oregon
no, that I
fans,
respect it.
Oregon fans are good.
Besides
Yeah, I'm
that
trying
whole
to
like
think.
Dan Lanning's
I,
body maturing thing, I think they're pretty like
that was weird.
okay. That was that was weird. Yes.
But see, you're looking. I try not to look for reasonable takes. I mean, Iowa fans, I think, are
Exactly.
uh, generally reasonable too. And I mean, Rutgers fans are kind of nuts. Um, I think. I mean, yeah. Those are the only 2 that I could say I think are genuinely reasonable in the Big Ten. Everyone else is kind of out there.
I guess that's a good point. Like, if you don't have post-worthy material from them, they're probably on the calmer, quieter side for you.
Yeah, I guess I'd throw Northwestern in there as being reasonable,
Well,
just because I don't really ever hear much from Northwestern fans, one way or the
I
other.
don't even know. Do they have fans? I actually tweeted this the other day asking if they had fans because Oregon plays them this Saturday. And I don't think I got a single response that could point me in the direction of a fan.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, so I'll toss them in the reasonable category because they're not out making fools of themselves very often.
Right. They obviously have different priorities than hopping onto the message board complaining about their football program.
They're
Which,
too smart for
okay,
that.
they're probably reading, right? God, that's dumb.
Yeah, nerds.
Exactly. So, one thing I want to talk to you about before we kind of break down the week 2 Big 10 games is one of these very spicy hot takes that you had that you mentioned on your episode probably a few weeks ago now, where you said that Ryan Day teaches his final game at Ohio State this season. Is that correct? I said that correctly? Like that was your hot take?
We were trying to, now keep in mind, we were trying to pick hot takes.
And
So that was,
you really followed the directions well with that. Like
yeah.
you had some really hot takes, and I can't remember, possibly Casey, where they were just kind of like warm takes.
Yeah, Casey was like Clemson beating Troy or something like that. I mean, not super hot takes, which turned out to be maybe a little hotter than we thought. But yeah, that was
Right.
one of my hot takes. And I just thought maybe at some point Ryan Day is going to get fed up with dealing with Ohio State fans because the expectations from them are completely unrealistic, which it's beat Michigan and win a national championship every year, which I mean,
Yes.
doing just one of those two things is never going to be sufficient. And I think that maybe Ryan Day just finally has enough. I mean, he'd have plenty of opportunities to go somewhere else, whether it was the NFL or, anywhere else in college football. He could probably have his pick of jobs. So that's the reasoning behind that. I don't know if it will happen, but that's my scalding hot take.
It's definitely a scalding hot take. And I find it particularly interesting, not that I disagree with it, but that it's Ryan Day leaving versus getting pushed out, which again, I don't disagree with if that were to come true. I definitely think that would be more likely is for him to walk away.
Yeah, I don't know how Ohio State could fire him no matter what happens this season after last season and then find a
Mm-hmm.
good quality candidate to come in and take a job given those expectations.
Exactly. And do you have actually a prediction? I'm kind of throwing you a curveball here, but do you think that Ohio State finally beats Michigan this season?
I think so. I mean, but I thought last year. I mean, I don't know
I think
how
we
they
all
did
did.
not win that game last year. I do not know.
Yeah.
I think if they would have played Michigan 10 times last year, they would have won 9. But so I don't know. I think so. They appear to be significantly better, but
Hmm.
I thought that last year too. And I mean, I, Ryan Day does seem to kind of just turtle a little bit when he sees Michigan over there. So I don't know, man. But yeah, I'll call it. I think he does it this year.
If he doesn't, I would say that your hot take might have a better chance of coming true because I don't know if he would even want to deal with the aftermath of that again. I could be wrong. He could. I'm sure he has
No,
much thicker skin, but I can understand like that also getting really tiring. But I'm with you.
no. I don't
I don't
see.
think they lose.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But like I say, and it's in Michigan this year, so I don't know. Right?
It'll
It's in
be
Ann Arbor,
interesting.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. It will be interesting. That's definitely one I think that we always kind of look forward to, like college football fans in general, because of how big the rivalry is. But this year is particularly interesting to see if Ohio State can finally accomplish it.
Agreed.
So, did you have a chance to watch any Big Ten football in week 2, MBG?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I actually went to a game in College Station, and so I didn't
The
have as much time to watch games. Now, I did watch the second half. I got home in time for Michigan and Oklahoma, so I watched that game. But I
That was an
think
exciting
that
game. Even though the Big Ten didn't get a win, that was still one of the better games of week 2, I would say.
yes, and
Were
also I did.
you
I forget UCLA's in the Big Ten. I watched a lot of the UCLA UNLV game as well.
They are in the Big Ten. I think it's pretty understandable to kind of forget that they're in the Big Ten, but they are. It's wildly unfortunate that they don't like they're not in a place with their program where they can fill that stadium or even get some decent population in that stadium for football games just because of what an incredible environment it is.
Yeah, it's so far from campus, and I mean,
Yes.
they haven't invested much in the program like the rest of the schools have. I think that they were just kind of an afterthought invitation to the Big Ten. Um,
I think so. I do. I think so. I agree with that. But yeah, UCLA lost to UNLV. Final score was 30-23. They lost in week 1 as well. So the Big Ten had 4 losses overall in week 2 compared to only 2 in week 1. So we saw some more losses. But I think one thing, and you may have seen posts about this, but there were quite a few shutouts this week in week 2 of the Big Ten. Like Ohio State managed to shut out Grambling 70-0. Penn State shut out FIU 34-0. Minnesota won 66-0. I don't think I had realized until I was actually sitting down going through all these games, like, oh wow, we had a lot of shutouts. I thought there was another one too. Oh yeah, Nebraska 68-0. I understand these are cupcake games, but I thought that was interesting. But I know you said that you paid attention to the final half of the Michigan Oklahoma game, excuse me. What are your thoughts of Underwood as a quarterback? Like, did he I mean, that game's probably not a great measurement to form your entire opinion on, but based on what you've seen, heard, and probably read through your posts, do you have any inkling of his success at Michigan?
I mean, he didn't look real great against Oklahoma, but that's a tough game for a young kid,
It
first
is.
road game at Oklahoma, and Oklahoma I think is probably pretty good, especially defensively. So I think it's tough to hold that game against him. I think he'll be good. I don't know that Michigan has the skill players to help him out too much, but I think he'll be good. I think Michigan will be good. This might be a rough season for them, but I think he'll be good overall. Assuming he sticks around, you never know anymore, but I'm assuming he will.
Right.
And no, I think he'll be good. I think Michigan will be good. Maybe not this year, but I think in the coming years, I think they'll be good.
Yeah. And I think it was a few weeks ago, maybe with Michelle, we were talking about how, like last season, that was pretty expected in terms of Michigan's performance and, their overall wins and losses in the conference. I think this season might be a little bit better, but Underwood being so young, you kind of do need to give him time to find his groove and that overall team cohesion even more. But like you said, maybe next season we see a little bit of a stronger performance from the team overall.
I think so. I know Michigan fans wanted to fire Sharon Moore at about 3/4 into that game. There were some calls for him to be fired, but I think he'll be all right too.
I do. I think he'll be all right. I know I saw some of those posts. Like when he is suspended, maybe Michigan will perform better, or it'll be interesting to see how they perform when he's not coaching in those games, which that will be interesting for sure. But do you have like a sleeper team in the Big Ten in terms of who you think might surprise folks this season?
I think Illinois.
Illinois, yes, that has been a pretty common response. Illinois beat Duke 45-19, and they're
Mhm.
ranked in the teens. I can't remember exactly where, maybe like 14 or something, but they're ranked in the AP top 25. But yeah, Illinois and Indiana seem to be the two that kind of come up. Have you seen many? Are they like active on the message boards?
Uh, Indiana, not so much. Illinois, a little bit. Yeah, they neither of them have had reasons for me to go check out their board too much, though, because they haven't really faced any rough patches yet.
Yes, this is true. You didn't watch any of the Oregon game, MBG?
You know, I did not, but I intend to watch some Oregon this week. I would have had I been able to, but
Yeah.
at no point did that game look like I should be tuning in.
Right.
But
This
they
is
did give up
fair.
a field goal. I mean, all those other Big
I
Ten teams were
know.
shutting teams out, and
Right.
Oregon gave
Right.
up a field goal.
It could have been us. Like, we could have been part of the crowd that had a shutout, but we had to give up a field goal,
And
which
how
is
has it looks like Dante Moore looked good?
yes, he
Um,
did. I mean, it went expected for me personally. I don't know if I thought we would reach 69. I thought maybe it would just be slightly less than that because I thought we'd kind of pull back. But they had back-to-back pick sixes. So I think that kind of like pushed Oregon to the higher score than I initially thought they would get to. But yes, it was an entertaining game from a fan standpoint, at least. In the top 25, though, the Big Ten has 6 teams ranked. Ohio State at number 1, Penn State at number 2, Oregon at number 4, Illinois at 9, Indiana 22, and Michigan 23. Now, are you one of those? I forget. Are you one of those that like hate the rankings up until like the college football ones come out?
no, I don't hate them, but I
Okay.
see how it maybe creates some unfairness
Hmm.
as the season goes on. But I don't hate them. I mean, it makes for good content and gives you at least kind of a starting point, I guess. But no, I don't hate them. Not as bad as Casey hates them.
Well, this is good because several people told me that my goal should be trying to get you to admit that you don't hate something on this podcast tonight. So I think I can say that I successfully achieved you admitting that you don't hate something.
That's true. Good job.
This is true. I do. I know. Pat on the back for sure. I find humor in all the things that you hate, although I know I have lost count. But I know like reading's up there and metal detectors and I think New Year's resolutions and mini golf and
Mm-hmm.
a list of funny things. Is there like a personal experience or personal story tied to each thing that you hate that like made you hate it? I have to know.
No, I don't think so.
You just like hear
No,
something and you're like, that's dumb.
that's stupid. Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. I mean, if I do something one time and I don't like it, then um, I'm not going to do it again. I think
Oh,
it's
and
dumb.
baseball. Baseball's on there too.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
know I'll take some heat for that one, but I used to be a big baseball fan, but
What happened?
no, I don't know. I don't know. Fun fact though, one time I did watch Oregon beat Cal at Cal and then drive right over and watch the A's lose to the Yankees in the ALCS.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sounds like a top-notch day, honestly.
So I did watch baseball at one time, but
Only one time.
it's been a while. But yeah, now I think it's dumb.
Oh, I think it's dumb. Oh, and who's just reminded me? Fireworks. You don't like fireworks, which I'm on board with. I actually hate fireworks and mostly everything about them. So this one I actually agree with you on. The reading's questionable, baseball's questionable, but
How about
this one I
picnics?
picnics? Nah.
Yeah, dumb, right?
Yeah, like I just don't like bugs getting that close to
Right,
my food.
right. Eat your food inside like a human, right?
Right. Right. Exactly. But do you have I totally just lost my train of thought. Sorry. I got distracted because Kara said she'll never tolerate or be okay with the baseball slander,
Sorry, Kara.
which I respect. Yes. So I know I asked you about the Big Ten fan bases, but you personally, while we're on the topic of you hating things, you personally, are there like college football teams that you hate or fan bases that you hate? You can be honest.
Well, so I am a Utah State fan.
Yeah,
So obviously, I hate BYU
BYU.
fans and I hate Utah fans. I hate Boise State fans and UNLV fans. Um, so those because of personal rivalries. I don't know that there's any others that I really hate. There are some fan bases that get under my skin sometimes, like Oklahoma and Tennessee fans, but those would be the other two. But I wouldn't use the word hate for those two.
I think that's fair. Like you're a normal college football fan, just like all of us. So there's fan bases that you hate because of like the rivalry or because of some reason tied to your team. Wait, is that why you watched the UCLA game? You were hoping that they would win?
Yeah, I was actually cheering for UCLA because for some reason UNLV fans are way out over their skis.
Yeah,
lately.
I totally get that. They really are. I've seen some posts that are really hyped about UNLV.
Yeah, I think they're convinced they'll be in the Big 12 or even the Big 10 in the near future. I'm not sure where they get that. I think they've had like 4 winning seasons in the last century. So,
And BYU, I totally understand. Oregon played them a few years ago, and they're a very interesting fan base to interact with in terms of them just thinking they're like kind of like similar to what you were just saying about UNLV, but like they're just like really hyped about their program, and it's kind of questionable as to why.
yes, I concur wholeheartedly.
I'm sure
Utah's a
you
little
do.
the same, but Utah has a little bit of a pedigree at least. They've accomplished some things.
They have.
Uh, BYU hasn't since 1984, and even that maybe is somewhat questionable, but that's a different conversation for a different day.
Right, of course. Of course. I do have to include this Courtney comment because there's no Tennessee mention.
I mentioned Tennessee, didn't I?
Yeah, I actually think there would be an honorable
Yeah,
mention. But
yeah, honorable mention,
I
Courtney.
think she's looking for something a little more
But
solid.
my favorite fan, honestly, my favorite fan base of all time is probably Auburn. I love Auburn fans. I actually went to a game at Auburn once, and it was fantastic. Probably the best experience I've ever had at a college football game.
Genuinely.
So, genuinely, yes, genuinely, and um, somewhat sarcastically, but for real,
Yeah.
I do enjoy, did enjoy a trip to Auburn. So Auburn fans are my favorite. They're the best.
Have you, kind of keeping on that topic, have you traveled to like any or many Big Ten stadiums or games?
Big Ten stadiums, I haven't. I'm trying to think if I have been to any. Well, USC. Yeah, I
Of
forget.
course.
I've been USC, and I think that's it.
Oh,
I think that's it.
you need to
Uh,
start like an MBG tour where you like actually go and travel to these games and see these stadiums and college towns and cities.
so I've been to a lot of SEC games. I typically will go to wherever Utah State plays whenever they play a Power Five team. So
Yeah.
anywhere they've played, I have been. Other than the Big Ten games, I just haven't gone to. Well, no, Iowa. I went to Iowa. So
Oh,
I've
that's
been to
cool.
Iowa as well. Yeah, a couple years ago, went to Iowa. They play in Autzen here in a couple years, so I'll be out to that game.
I haven't been to Iowa, but I've heard great things about that stadium and Iowa City, where it's located. It's Iowa
Mhm.
City, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I would say like the game atmosphere at Iowa is comparable to any of the SEC ones that I've been to. Maybe not as large,
Mhm.
but comparable. I was shocked at the tailgating, which I know is lame, but the tailgating and just the amount of people that were there.
That's
It was
cool.
good. Mhm.
Oregon goes to Iowa this season. I won't be able to go, but it's kind of one of the cool things with conference realignment. And people might disagree with this, or they have way more complaints than they do praises for the entire process. But it's like your team traveling to these places kind of opens up the opportunity for you to go to these places and see them play, which
Right.
can be fun, like playing in these amazing atmospheres. Like last season when Oregon went to Wisconsin and was able to participate and jump around. And then they went to the big house last season as well for the first time in a few years. And, just the idea of like Ohio State coming to Oregon and then this season, Ohio State coming to Seattle, like, yeah, there's downfalls in these trips and the traveling that's required, but I do think there's like a super cool component of like these opportunities being opened up of these teams playing in different atmospheres.
Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy going around just to different places and just seeing different stadiums and atmospheres and traditions. So it's a fun thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, MBG, thank you so much for being here tonight with me. I have wanted to pick your brain for a long time, not just about college football, but about the podcast as well. Like I said, you guys are doing such a phenomenal job. And I'm going to let you go soon here too, just in case Courtney sets your house on fire. But you guys are doing such a great job with your content and your creativity. If you guys who are listening or watching this have not checked out the MBG podcast, I highly recommend that you do, because it is one of the best in college football content. And as always, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, not only to keep up with Big Ten Talk, but all the other amazing content that these creators are putting out there on a weekly, almost daily basis. And we will be back next week to talk about week 3 of Big Ten football. Hope to see you guys there.